Hey Nippers, it's me, Wild Neptune. Some of you are gonna have a hard choice to make with this upcoming collab banner. Find out what it is after you like, comment, and subscribe on this video. Thanks for watching. Now, let's get going. Alright, unless you've been living under a rock, you know that the Guilty Gear collab is once again here in Epic 7. 5 heroes in total. We get Soul Bad Guy for free, and then we had to summon on Baiken, Dizzy, Elphelt, and Jack-O. No new heroes, so all rerun heroes, but there is a small problem. We can't pull all 4 of them. We can only get 3 of them. No matter how much money you spend, only 3. Why? Well, because it's going to be a triple banner. That's right. So, we can choose 3 out of these 4 to pull on. And one of them we leave behind. We don't care about them. Right? So, the 3 heroes we choose will add up to the 1%. And we have a 1% chance combined to pull one of them each pull. The artifact's 1.05, so same rates as a regular banner, as 1 hero and 1 target artifact. You can still get off-banner artifacts, unfortunately. Just like other triple banners, there is no pity. However, there is a shop. Every time you summon, you get currency. Use currency to buy the heroes, buy the artifact, and buy other stuff. Let's say if you don't want to hit that currency milestone after you pull a hero or something like that. So, not going to talk too much about if this is a good idea to have it on a triple banner. I will say, I think for players who do not have any of the heroes at all, this is probably better if they're not big whales. Of course, big whales who want all 4 of them and haven't gone through the game yet, yeah, you know, it kind of sucks for them. For players who are only missing 1 hero, this is kind of annoying, especially for somebody like me, as I'm only missing Jack-O, and I would have liked to have Jack-O on her own banner, because that way I'd have a better chance of just pulling her, instead of possibly having to go to 120 just to pull dupes of heroes that I don't need just to get to Jack-O, right? So there are definitely pros and cons. I definitely say this is the most free-to-play friendly version of it if they want to have, you know, a chance at multiple heroes, I would say. However, again, not going to talk too much about that. I will, however, go through the 4 heroes and explain where they're used in the game, what their strengths, weaknesses are, and you can decide which one of these 4 you have to leave out of your summon pool. Let's get to that. Okay, we will go over heroes and artifacts together, starting with Elphelt. So, right now, Elphelt is being used in kind of 2 places. One of them is in a Katie's one-shot team. And this is because she's a ranger who has both defense break, and she can target as a ranger if she has Song of Stars. I do believe it is the easiest Katie's one-shot to make with the Elphelt version. Not positive about that, but I do know it is among the easier ones to do gear score-wise. So if that's something of interest to you, maybe want to get Elphelt. She's also kind of used in World Arena, or was sometimes. Not really. She can be used in World Arena as a opener for aggressive or cleave teams. However, that really hasn't happened in a long time. And keep in mind that Elphelt is a hero that has already been buffed already. And so I don't think she'll be buffed again, especially as a collab unit. She might get an EE or something like that. We will have to find out. However, her artifact is Miss Confit. And Miss Confit is a ranger artifact where it has a chance to defense break the target for 1 turn on a single target attack. It is actually a pretty strong artifact overall. Now, the problem is here is that Rangers, they have this artifact. I don't know if you ever heard about it. It's called, what is it? Guiding Light, okay? And Guiding Light has basically made every other Ranger artifact obsolete. And Miss Confit, as good as it is not good enough to not be obsolescent by Guiding Light. Now, in PvE, Miss Confit is actually a very good artifact. But for PvE, and is just being good in some niche PvE good enough to pull an artifact for? Probably not. Honestly, if you can buy Repowder, I'm not even sure if it's worth buying Repowder or not. That's something that I do believe out of the 4 artifacts you can get, Miss Confit is the best one. Is it worth the 240? That's actually a hard sell too. Next up is Dizzy. Now, Dizzy, unfortunately at the moment, doesn't really have too much of a place in the game. In PvP, she has been basically pushed out by Last Rider Crow after she had a small bit of a resurgence a little while ago. Starting off, she was among the most busted PvP units in the game when she came out, but slowly, when the unit got stronger, we had more things to counter her, she became less and less viable, but still had a pretty solid spot in some PvE content. Today, though, we just have better heroes for that PvE content that she was used in, and even back then, I think that she wasn't actually that good in PvE. People just were like, oh, I have her built, she's cute, I'm gonna use her in PvE, and it works for me, and it's good enough. We don't have to do that anymore. We have 3 stars now that can fill her role in PvE. I'll be honest, Dizzy is probably, at least in my opinion, the worst out of the 4 heroes, value-wise, to summon on, and this saddens me to say, because out of the 4 here, Dizzy is my favorite one, at least character-wise. Her artifact is Necron and Undine. Let me see if I can find it right here. She is a mage, and right here. It increases the combat readiness of the caster by a certain amount when she has an attack that targets all enemies. And this is pretty good on Dizzy because all her attacks are AoE. But the problem is it has this very small line of text here that makes a big difference, and it is, this effect is not activated by counterattack, dual attack, or extra attack. If this wasn't here, this would be a pretty bonkers artifact, actually. But because this line exists, nobody uses this. Nobody has ever used this, ever. And nobody will ever use this unless this thing is removed. And then it's suddenly broken. But I do not expect that to happen. Now, I will say that Dizzy is the hero that is the closest, that's not already viable in PvP, the closest to becoming good with just a small nudge in a certain direction for her kit, maybe EE, maybe another change somewhere. She will also have to overcome things like Last Rider Crow, who is unfortunately one of the hardest counters for her in the entire game, and the fact that he's very strong right now is an issue for her. But if she can get past that and get a moderate buff, I think it'd be pretty good. However, as I said before, do not pull under the pretense that, oh, this character is not very good right now, so they'll get buffed later. Maybe they will, but we don't know how long that'll be. Now we have Baiken. Baiken is the lowest gear score requirement hero to one-shot Banshee 13. She's also pretty good in a blue expedition team, and beyond that, that's really all she's being used for at the moment. Now, let's be fair here. There are other heroes that can one-shot Banshee 13. Not as easily, but they exist. And some of them are free, like Ran. If you don't know who she is, she's Rem's sister, and she was also a free collab hero. So if you have her, you can also use her to one-shot Banshee 13. Ludwig, you can do it with a 2-star mouse hero if you really wanted to, if that mouse had extremely good gear. Now, keep in mind that a lot of these heroes really want or need Rage Set in order to one-shot the Banshee. Baiken does not need Rage Set to do it. My Baiken is pretty poorly geared overall for a one-shot unit, and she has no problems with one-shotting Banshee 13 at all. As far as Blue Expedition goes, there are a lot of other units that are good for Blue Expedition, so Baiken really isn't needed there at all. She's really... Do you want to one-shot Banshee very easily? If the answer is yes, you probably want to add her to your pool. No real impact in PvP, and just one of those heroes where unless she gets an overhaul, I can't see her becoming good in PvP. And if it was changed away from a Banshee hero to PvP, people would be extremely upset. People were upset when you Fiend, like the 5 people who used to Fiend for PvE when she was changed to PvP hero. They were mad. Imagine Baiken, a hero that a lot of people use for PvE, gets changed to PvP hero. People would be livid. So that's not happening, right? Now, her artifact is Torn Sleeve. It has a chance to put on a bleeding effect on a single target attack. Well, actually, 2. Yes, just 1. Bleeding effect. You know what? Okay, let's be honest here. Bleed is the worst debuff in the entire game. There was a time when this was actually decent somewhat. That time has passed. No more. You don't need this artifact. If you pull in Baiken just for the artifact, don't. Last up, we have Jack-O. Jack-O is the only one that I do not have and will be trying to get myself. She is the only hero right now out of the 4 that's being used in PvP, at least in World Arena, to a high level. And that's really all she's being used for, mainly in aggressive and in cleave teams. I will say, if you do cleave and are aggressive, she is heavily tied to Zio as a combo. So we know Zio, her, I'd say, viability drops off pretty hard there. And that's really it. If you care about World Arena and World Arena first, she is the one you want to choose, at least one of the 3 you want to choose. Her artifact is Jack-O Symbol, and let me see if I can find it right here. We don't want to go all the way back, but Jack-O Symbol, what it does, it gives you a bonus to damage if the target has a debuff on single target attacks, and because of Jack-O's mechanics, they will almost always have a debuff. Now, is it her best in slot? A lot of people use Merciless Glutton instead of Jack-O Symbol, so I don't know the math of which one's better myself, but if you have a lot of Merciless Gluttons lying around, you probably want to use that instead of fishing for more symbols, even though it is a very nice looking artifact in my opinion. And that's really it. Those are, I'd say, all you have to know about the 4 heroes and the 4 artifacts. And in case you were wondering, no, they are not giving us one of them for free. At least not besides Soul. We are getting 25 bookmarks and some other stuff too. It's stuff that we kind of expected to happen. But no, if you want all 3 of them, you'll either get lucky or spend 360 bookmarks. It is what it is. Also coming, there will be the side story, and it's not really a side story, it's more just a little battle thing you do. So easy, normal, hard, and hell. You get currency to exchange, and you can pick up copies of Portrait, your Dupes of Soul to imprint him, and his artifact too. If you are very, very free to play, or very limited on energy, and you haven't done any of this yet, I will probably say pick up 2 portraits, maybe. It is a decent artifact. Has seen less usage because Symbol of Unity is just better than Portrait, but it's nice to have a couple of them lying around. And really, I would say that's really all you have to do. If you really want to pick up the copies of Junkyard Dog and Soul, go ahead. I personally have never used these for anything at all that is important in any single way throughout the lifetime of my account. Now, keep in mind, I am not free to play, so maybe you will find usage, or maybe you just really like Soul and you really want to get this artifact. That's also a factor for you, right? But I would definitely say that getting at least 2 max copies of Portrait of the Savior, so 2 that can go to plus 30, is going to be your number 1 priority from the side story exchange. And keep in mind too that we do have ReZero coming next week, so you'll have some other decisions to make. Hey, it's that time of year. Trick or treat. And that's all I have for you today. Good luck on your summons. May luck be on your side. I'm Realm Neptune. It's been a good one. Nep out.